We are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace. Welcome back to the Geekcentric Podcast. My name is Nate, and in today's fantastic fourth episode of the season, we kick off with a few trailers directly from this year's Super Bowl, and then we delve even deeper into the multiverse as we look at an alternate universe where a good version of the Fantastic Four was finally made during our topic of the show. But if you're joining us for the first time, this is a weekly show covering the world of film, television, gaming, toys, and collectibles, and all things geek-centric. Joining me on the show, we have the joyous judge of jarring geriatrics, Justin.
Are you saying I'm old?
It might have something to do with one of the trailers we're going to talk about, Justin.
Oh, I see.
I always try to theme these in a way.
Okay, I see you. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Clever.
And on a screen next to him, we have the calm, cool, and collected Kansas City Crusher, Kevin Hudson.
It's clobbering time, boys.
There you go, right? Well, didn't they lose? They lost in the Super Bowl. I mean, bowl. What is it? A Super Bowl?
It was a Super Bowl, but the effort was far more reminiscent of a bowel movement by one of the teams. So,
no! All right, well, guys, how's it going today? Did you guys watch the Super Bowl? Did you catch the halftime show, or was it all about those trailers?
I catch the halftime show. It was interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that the Us characters, the tethered, were showing up on the field. That was
felt
interesting.
Very inspired by that for sure.
Yeah,
it certainly did, didn't it?
Yeah. I think honestly though, shout out to The Weeknd. I thought it was still pretty cool to see a Canadian, represent.
Well, yeah, and I even said after, it did not make me like The Weeknd anymore. I'm not going to be listening, downloading any songs. I'm not a huge fan of his voice for whatever reason, but that's like a top 5 of all time halftime performances for sure. Yeah. He put on a terrific show. So
it was entertaining for sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of entertainment, guys, we're in the second month of the year, and we've had a little bit more time under our belts and a little more time on the couch to consume some of that entertainment. So, guys, since last week, I want to know, Justin, whatcha?
Well, last week I was talking about the Fast and Furious movies that I was watching. Well, I'm happy to say that I got through 7. Bawled my eyes, as always, with that Paul Walker send-off.
Yeah.
Then I moved into 8, which was abysmal. And then I even went ahead and I watched Hobbs and Shaw, which was entertaining. It was fun. It's really
I found that one a bit of a letdown.
I guess so, but they seem to be seed planting for their own universe, which I think is interesting. And I think that's how, if the Fast and Furious franchise was to keep going, because like Deckard Shaw's character and his family, and with Helen Mirren as his mom, and his sisters in the Hobbs and Shaw movie. It's interesting to see how they've flushed out these characters to make them a little bit more interesting. Like I'd like to see a little bit more of that backstory. But it was fun. And then after all that, obviously in the recent news, Christopher Plummer passed away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Canadian actor, 91 years old. I didn't watch any of the movies that he was actually really well known in. I actually watched a murder mystery duo. It was a double bill over the weekend, and I watched Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, the David Fincher version.
Nice.
Which has Daniel Craig as the detective, if you will. And then I watched Knives Out immediately after, where Daniel Craig is. And man, these, his movies, for him to attach his name to, and for his, as small as his performance was in both movies, he did really bring a sense of, despair and loss in, Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. And then in Knives Out, like obviously the complete opposite, quirky,
I loved him so
funny.
Much in Knives Out.
I loved when I just loved the scene when he realizes he's understanding that the morphine's going to kill him, and he's like, I should really write this down. This is a plausible way to actually kill someone. So just those little moments that were very endearing, and obviously the compassion his character has for his nurse. So that's what I did since last week is pretty much went through all that. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Kevin, whatcha?
I haven't been focusing as much over the last week on entertainment. This was a big sports week for me. So I did catch up. I had a couple episodes of Your Honor to watch. I still got a couple more to finish out the season. Watched the newest episode of Snowpiercer. Still trudging along begrudgingly with that one. But
you're not hate watching it yet? Like I know we talked about Justin hate watching something the other day. You're not hate watching.
I refuse to hate watch anything. If I don't like it, I'm not wasting my time.
Okay.
So I'm invested enough that I'll put it on. It's something to watch.
Right.
But
right.
I don't know. We had obviously the Super Bowl on Sunday. My boys, the blue and white, the Leafs went 3-0 this week, so that was awesome. I hope they can continue it and stay at top of the league. I'm happy that a month into my hockey season here, the Leafs are top in the league, and so that's fun, and I'm going to enjoy that and relish it as long as I can.
Well, listen, as soon as that comes to Netflix, I'll definitely give it a go.
Well, they're working on the Amazon Prime documentary series about
really?
them, right? Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was joking, but that actually sounds interesting.
And I mean, if this is the year they actually go and compete and challenge for the Cup, what a perfect time for Amazon to have picked to follow them around the rinks and stuff. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm certainly excited for that.
All right, legit. Maybe that'll be a watch it for me one day. But for this past week, more Superstore. I mentioned it on the show last time that I've been enjoying Superstore quite a bit. I'm almost caught up to where they are on TV on season 6, so I'm almost on season 5, and it's just getting better and better. And it's. I mean, I think I'm at a place now where I'm like I'm okay with it ending in its last season in season 6. Like I'm not at a place where I'm like I need more. But it's just it's a delightful sort of little show, and it's I don't know. I don't think it has the lasting impact that something like The Office would have. But it's definitely a lot of fun. I started the show called The Expanse on Amazon Prime. I believe it was originally a sci-fi original show or a space show or one of those channels. And I will say in its first season, I'm only 5 episodes in its first season, you can really tell that it's a low budget sort of sci-fi show. Its pacing is all off. I will start with that. And it doesn't seem like it's very confident in what it's trying to do. It feels like they saw Game of Thrones and they're like, oh, we got to do that. Let's come up with like an ensemble series and just throw you right in the middle of it without holding your hand at all. So what I'm saying is I'm not enjoying it that much. However, season 3 I think it's season 3, they were actually purchased and then released from Amazon. And apparently that's when it starts to get good, because I'm looking at reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and it's in the like high 80s on Rotten Tomatoes. People are giving it 9 out of 10s, 10s out of 10s. And so they must be talking about the later series, but I don't know. How do you guys feel about the whole, like, trust me, just wait till after season 2, season 3, it gets really good. Like, do you guys, Kevin, you were just saying you don't stick with series if you don't like them like that.
Yeah, if I've got to invest, 20 hours into something before it gets good, I don't know if I'm that patient, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on the same page. Like, it depends on how much is really worth investing. Like, if I think of something like Clone Wars is kind of like that. I feel like, that was...
I would say so, yeah.
That was a painful part of Clone Wars, was getting through the first probably like 2 seasons before it really started to like kind of pick up, maybe even like 2.5, really.
Yeah, it's like, I know one show that a lot of people say you just got to get through the first little bit. You hear it all the time, is The Office. Just get to season 2 and, it really starts to find its legs and its own identity. That's 6 22-minute long episodes. I can rough through something like that a little bit better than if you've got 10 40-minute long episodes and I've got to get through 2 seasons. That's a lot more time invested, that if I'm not enjoying myself, it's rough.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. But I'm going to hold out. And the reason I don't think I can skip to season 3 is because so far, even in these 5 episodes, it's so dense. Like they've got the crazy lingo. They've got characters that are speaking in a different like accent that's not anything accent that like we've heard before. So it's interesting. The other thing eating my time, and then we're gonna move on, is Cyber Shadow. If you like old school side scrolling, action platforming games, Cyber Shadow on Nintendo Switch. I think it's also on PlayStation and on PC as well. And it's on Xbox Game Pass as well, which is really cool. So if you've got an Xbox with Game Pass, you can download that. But Cyber Shadow is this futuristic Ninja Gaiden-like game, but it's incredibly difficult. Like it's as difficult as games were back in the day on what it's based on, right? Like those retro games that are, you've got checkpoints, but they're far and few between, and you have to like nail the most perfect execution of buttons to get to the next side of the screen. But
what you're telling me, it's a controller thrower, then, eh?
Yes. Oh, dude, Kevin, I'm telling you, I'm playing on the Switch Lite, and if you were playing on the Switch Lite, I don't think you'd have a Switch anymore. So you'd have to be very careful with it. But definitely check out Cyber Shadow if you're into those old school side-scrolling ninja future games. But guys, that is it for Whatcha. As I mentioned, we got a chance to, some of us got a chance to catch the Super Bowl, and hopefully you did as well. But the most important parts of the Super Bowl they're not the game, and they're definitely not the halftime show, and not even the commercials. You know what the most important things are? The trailers.
It's trailer time.
I miss hearing that so much. We haven't heard Kevin's sweet voice with his banjo that he plays in quite some time.
One take. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Kevin, thank you so much for playing that for us.
Well, you wouldn't let me blow on a jug, so I had to do something.
Well, speaking of blowing on a jug, guys, let's talk about this first trailer. No, there's no jug blowing in this first trailer,
I don't think
guys.
I saw this trailer.
Let's talk about Fast 9. I mean, Justin, I think you're the most prepared out of all of us. We got this latest Fast 9 trailer directed by Justin Lin. Of course, you know it's starring Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Charlize Theron, Helen Mirren, Michael Rooker, Natalie Emmanuel, John Cena. Who isn't starring in it? It's just everyone. I'm in it. I might be in it.
Did you say Michael Rooker's in it?
Michael Rooker's in it, dude.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what he's doing in there.
They haven't shown his character. I imagine he might be a villain of some kind.
I hope he's a villain. Justin, what did you think of the of this 30-second dopamine rush that is this trailer?
Well, it was much shorter than the original trailer that launched last year, which was probably
You mean the whole movie?
Yeah.
You mean the whole movie that was in that trailer?
And they even gave away like the big thing with like apparently Han's back, who is the character from Tokyo Drift, who was in 4, 5, and 6, inevitably died at the beginning of 7. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Fast.
I haven't seen it, but I've already heard about all that.
So his character was very appreciated. So everyone knew that there was going to be a point in time when he was going to die.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see how they justify it, because apparently people just don't die. Like Michelle Rodriguez died, and then she came back in 6, right? Like
no.
It's just
it doesn't matter anymore.
And they in some ways kept Paul Walker alive, really, in a weird, twisted way. But, now Han seems to be coming back, and, Justin Lin's back to direct, which I'm really excited for, because he really, he did Tokyo Drift, Fast Furious.
He did the good ones.
Yeah, he did all the ones that established and took the franchise to, global blockbuster stardom. I'm excited. I think that this is a little bit. It feels like there's there's this whole sequence where he's with his family, all the people that he's done these, his crew, and it looks like it was a bit of a dream sequence. I don't know. It kind of seemed almost a little too perfect. Everyone's like his kids there and stuff like that. So But the one cool thing was some of the car sequences. It looks like they're using magnets of some kind. I think that's going to be the big.
Well, yeah, we've got cars driving sideways now somehow on their sides. All right.
So I feel like that's
don't
like
even need
a
wheels
magnet.
where we're going.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a magnet to catch the car, right? And it goes into the truck. So
but Justin,
that's cool.
we got a taste of that dialogue that you talked about in our previous episode, where he's just, I think, what does he say? Like, it's something like, "Don't you wish it could be like the old days?" He's like, "All the time." And I'm just like, this is honestly,
Do you miss the old times? Right?
Yeah,
and he's like,
yeah.
every day.
Every day. Oh my gosh! Honestly, like if they can make the physics of that happen, then yeah, they can bring people back from the dead. I'm not going to blink an eye. You know, whatever.
It's a whole other
Whatever.
territory. So I'm excited to see it, as I've already expressed. It's almost like a guilty pleasure, if you will, because like they're not great movies by any standards, but they're fun, they're entertaining.
Yeah.
Right. And you laugh at it. Like I find myself laughing at things that probably shouldn't be laughed at, but they're just ridiculous. So
there you go.
I don't know. They're fun.
I guess the real question is, are we going to get to see it on May 28th in a movie theater the way it's meant to be seen?
Yeah, and that was what was funny too, is the end, in theaters soon. There was no date, right? Because they don't want to commit to a date based on everything that's going on, variants and vaccines not being distributed. My life might not get back to normal as fast as everyone hopes.
As fast as those cars drive.
Yeah, exactly. As fast as Fast 9, let me tell you. I thought there was an intention to actually have it on HBO Max at the same time. So if that's the case, then we could be good. But that's one. If it doesn't hit HBO Max and it's on like iTunes Store, I'll definitely buy it and rent it.
I'd be down. Like even if it got to the point where it was at least safe enough for us to gather in small groups outside, and we could hook up that big giant screen in your backyard, Justin or Kevin or either one of you, and have a nice little, we could be family. We're family.
Fast 9, yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. Do a barbecue beforehand, yeah.
Right? That'd be great. And I would love that, because I'd love just to see you guys up close and see your face and see all the wrinkles and just see how old you're getting. Speaking of old, let's talk about this next very interesting trailer from M. Night Shyamalan called Old. This is starring Rufus Sewell, Thomasin McKenzie, Embeth Davids, Eliza Scanlon, and Abby Lee, and essentially, all the people that you knew in Fast 9. Yeah, none of those people are in this movie, because I don't know any of these people. The plot is kept under wraps, but obviously it's about a family or a couple families, and they end up on an island, and they all start getting old.
Yeah, it seems
what
like
is going on?
It's very interesting. I was very I watched that trailer like at least 3 times just to grasp what was going on. But it does look like it's like, a family vacation to this beach where time is just moving so rapidly, and it's aging these people. So
it's weird.
It was really crazy how it was cut together. It was very suspenseful for this short amount of time that the trailer was. So it was really well done.
I kind of got like a WandaVision vibe from it almost, in that
Or
everything
Lost.
was moving so fast,
Yeah.
Don't compare this garbage to my favorite show, Justin. It's not like Lost. Honestly, sometimes I think that M. Night Shyamalan sits down on the toilet and then thinks like, I should make a movie where there's an island where people just turn old. Great. Let's make it. Like I honestly, it just looks like no thought was put into this. I'm hoping I'm very wrong, because when M. Night Shyamalan wins, I think he makes amazing films. But when he doesn't win, like it's just some of the worst stuff that I've ever seen. And this seems like that might be leaning more towards that direction.
What's one of his worst movies that you've seen?
I don't even remember the name of it, but Mark Wahlberg's in it, and the trees end up killing everybody.
Could it possibly be the trees?
It's like, come on. Or the one with the grandparents that eat their kids or something. I don't know, man.
Oh, that one was really weird. Yeah, that one
did all right, though. It got all right reviews.
Yeah,
compared to Lady in the Water,
yeah,
The
Lady
Happening,
in the Water was
Airbender.
really, yeah, Lady in the Water was really bad. Airbender, yeah. That must have made you. That's what I was thinking you were going to say, because you're such an Airbender fan.
So mad.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, dude. Avatar: Okay, that movie was him saying, "Oh, I've watched the first 2 episodes of season 1 with my kids. I'll make a whole movie out of this." I'm like, you don't know that. Anyways.
That still had one of the best trailers I've ever seen.
Yes.
That first trailer was so
great
good.
trailer.
Yeah.
Awful movie. And I really hope they fix it with some of the live action stuff that I think Netflix is working on. But yeah, no. Interesting. Old comes out July 23rd, 2021, and we'll be a little bit older after seeing it. Guys, we've got one more trailer to talk about. We are moving so quickly, almost at the pace of like a falcon. Speaking of a falcon.
My God, these segues.
I'm on it tonight. The Falcon and Winter Soldier. We got a new, really, really, honestly, phenomenal trailer. I thought it was so well done. This series is all 6 episodes directed by Kerry Skoglund, with Malcolm Spellman on writing, starring Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Daniel Bruhl, Wyatt Russell, and Emily Van Camp. This looked so good. The way that it starts with the 16:9 aspect ratio, like opening up to that sound, that like I was just like, oh, it looks.
It felt like the opening took some notes from like WandaVision and this certain sort of like flexibility of moving aspect ratio, just to
having fun with that.
Yeah, having fun with it. This does feel like a very return to some sort of form of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because especially getting out of the weird of what will be WandaVision, which is very different and refreshing, but I think this will be nice and familial for audiences, and deeper. It looks like it's a deep dive into like a very seedy world that they're going to be getting into with whatever Daniel Bruhl's Zemo's character is involved in, or
and
if
his
he
gang
knows,
or whatever. Yeah.
There's been a lot of theories. I think when we were doing the Disney Investor podcast and we had Darcy on, he was mentioning how that crime syndicate world that they seem to be hinting at is very much closely tied to something that the Wolverine has been associated with in the Marvel comics. And if that's a way that they bring him in as someone that might remember Bucky or knows Bucky, and they get some sort of reconnection, which would be really cool. It would be really cool to say that Bucky already knew who Logan was, if that's how you introduced him. So I think that's a really cool concept. So seeing a little bit more of that leads me to think that maybe Darcy might be onto something. If we don't get Logan, that's okay, but we might see that other sort of seedy, as he was describing it, like a crime syndicate world, if you will.
Yeah, I'm down. Absolutely. Kevin.
Yeah, every time I see something from it, I'm just blown away by the production quality. For a TV show, it looks just absolutely stunning, and like basically just, an episodic movie, if you will. And so, I'm stoked for it. I think it'll be good. I'm glad that it gives us something to look forward to right after WandaVision wraps. So, we won't be left waiting for our source of MCU content.
Yeah, and it's gonna be right after, right? Like it's gonna be 2 weeks after the finale. This show drops, so that's gonna be good.
Listeners, be prepared, because we're gonna have 1 week off from Watch Club, and then we're gonna be right back at it with Watch Club, The Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I'm so stoked to just continue diving through Phase 4, through the MCU. I'm just honestly though, like, I have to say, like, we applaud WandaVision for knowing what it is and being so dedicated to owning its own identity. And this looks like it's doing the same thing, but for an action movie, for as you said, returning to form, being like almost like a Winter Soldier or a Civil War. Like it knows what it is, right? And it's gonna just really play on it. And just they started playing "Is You Ready" by Migos, and I'm just like, the blood was pumping. I was in. Like I that's why I'm so fired up right now. It was I'm stoked.
I think what's interesting too is what the trailer does seem to capture a little bit more of is obviously the maybe the threat, but also their dynamic, and the dynamic that we've already kind of seen of like these sort of big brother sort of, like they like each other but they don't like each other. They kind of bicker like a married couple, like a buddy cop sort of motif, while also infusing a spy thriller, as you were mentioning, with the reference to like Civil War and Winter Soldier. So it's going to have some fun personal, and I think some really great writing moments between the character dynamics, while also just, again, expanding the MCU, doing its job of what it's meant to do in terms of like the bigger picture.
Yeah, like seeing the two of them bicker back and forth reminded me so much of that moment in Civil War, right? When I think they were trying to capture like Spider-Man or something, and then they end up on the ground and just look at each other. And then even at the end of this trailer, right? Like where they end with a staring contest, and the therapist is just like, just blink. Like it looks so good. So that is coming out March 19th. So I guess it would be the Monday after that is going to be get ready for the first Watch Club episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And if you're interested in any of that stuff and you want to write into the show and let us know a little bit more about maybe what you think of WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier, where can they do that, Justin?
They can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com.
So, because we've been obsessed with the weekly releases of, as we've been mentioning, Marvel's WandaVision and the upcoming release of Falcon and Winter Soldier, we thought we'd try our hand at something that has up until this point seemed impossible. We are going to give you our pitch for what we would want to see in the new MCU version of the Fantastic Four. This is Total Recast. Okay, guys, so we've all had some time to consider our loose plot, cast, and the movie has already announced a director, which is MCU's Spider-Man director, John Watts. So we're going to each take turns giving our pitch to see what we come up with Marvel's first family, as they're called. So for this one, why don't we start with the Crusher himself, the Kansas City Crusher, Kevin Hudson.
Put me in the hot seat right away, eh?
It's clobbering time, bro.
Yeah, it's clobbering time. Let's go. Flame on. So a lot of how I sort of thought about this has stemmed from the last couple episodes of WandaVision. I just think there's been too many little potential Easter eggs and little hints at something that I almost see it impossible at this stage that we're not going to get some sort of cast member reveal from one of the Marvel's first family here, the Fantastic Four. I think it would be a great way, even though we won't see a movie till probably 2023 at the earliest, that'll be a great way to almost end Phase 4 with the Fantastic Four.
Yes.
But again, I think they are really leaning into some potential hints at their appearance through the show. Specifically, you've got Monica Rambeau's mention of, an aerospace engineer, which is, Reed Richards to a T.
Right.
They talked about manned space flights via S.W.O.R.D. in episode 4 and how they were kind of leaning away from those. And so I don't know where they're going to go, if it's going to be the more traditional route where, the 4 astronauts go out into space, get some cosmic rays, it changes their molecular makeup. But we've also kind of seen the molecular manipulation with the hex now. And so perhaps they're calling in Reed Richards to study the hex, and this will be the sort of transformative element that leads to our Fantastic Four family. So I spent far less time trying to figure out a story and a plot just because I really don't know where they're going to go and how long it's going to take them to sort of reveal a bit more.
Yeah.
But I'm going with a pretty traditional, 4 astronauts or engineers of some sort, get manipulated and they change into the Fantastic Four. I want Dr. Doom to be our big baddie. I'd love him to be the ruler of some made-up country. We've already seen them go that way with Wakanda. They're fully fine with making, pretend countries that serve a plotline purpose. And so, however we can sort of bring that character in, in that regard would be a lot of fun. So should I just jump into my cast then, I guess?
Let's hear it, dude.
Alrighty. So, we obviously had talked before about how we were going to avoid the rumblings of any potential casting news.
Yes.
And obviously the lead news out there for at least what fans have been talking about for years now, it feels like, has been John Krasinski as Reed Richards and Emily Blunt as Sue Richards, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Or Sue Storm.
Storm,
I guess
yes.
Sue Richards if they're married, yeah.
Right. So I went a different direction from that and came up with my own cast list here. For Reed Richards, I want somebody who's going to play it serious. Reed Richards was very much the straight guy. He's a brilliant man, and so he's the practical one. He's always, using his head, not, so much as personality. And so I went with a star I'd love to see in the MCU, Adam Driver, as my Reed Richards.
Really? Wow.
I think he could really be a great team leader. I'd love to see him in that role. And then for Sue Richards, I went with Anya Taylor-Joy. So would have most recently seen her on Queen's Gambit. She's also pretty well known from Peaky Blinders. I think they're close enough in age that their relationship wouldn't bother me. I think they're only about 10 years apart in real life, and that's fine. Reed should be a bit older than Sue herself. Yeah. And I just think she could bring a lot of poise to the character. I think she's got a great presence, and so especially after seeing her in Queen's Gambit, I'd love to see her take on something where she can still play a serious role, but maybe have a bit more fun with it. For my Johnny Storm, now I've been trying to get this guy into an MCU movie, most specifically as Wolverine, but if that's going to get poo-pooed on, I'm going to recast him here instead. For my Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, I'm going with Zac Efron.
Of course,
I think he could bring a similar sort of vibe that Chris Evans had when he played the character, who was probably the best part of those two early 2000s Fantastic Four movies. And so you get a lot of your energy and fun from Zac Efron in that role. For The Thing, I want somebody who's tough and curmudgeon-y, and so I went with an action star legend, Jason Statham. I think he'd have such a fun time playing The Thing, and he would just bring that amount of just cantankerous energy. And then with Doom, I'm bringing in a big name here. I want somebody with a lot of screen presence, somebody who can really carry the meat of the drama. I'm going with Viggo Mortensen as my Dr. Doom.
Totally.
So yeah, again, I have no idea where they're going with it, but if a cast like this sort of came into the fray, I think it would just add so much different sort of actors and whatnot to an already very crowded MCU.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Viggo Mortensen was on my list as well. I didn't choose him, but he was definitely on my short list because he just has. He has like, I mean, I love him in Lord of the Rings as the good guy, but him as a villain, I just think is so terrifying. Like he's got that face, like it's his eyes. I think it's his eyes that get me every time.
So what are you thinking? Like an Eastern Promises or like that sort of? Yeah.
Right? That would be awesome. That is so cool. Oh, I love that. Excellent. Not bad. I don't think I had anyone else that you listed on my listing, so that was nice to see. I was considering Anya Taylor-Joy, but again, I was worried about the age thing. That was the only thing, because even though age-wise they are still 10 years apart, she just, I don't know, something about her skews younger looking.
I was shocked to see that she was like 25 this year. Like, she looks much younger for sure.
Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, that is the Fantastic Four. And when is that coming out? When is your production coming out, Kevin?
I think we see snippets of it at the end of WandaVision here. We get maybe our first introduction to Doctor Doom, because Doctor Doom himself isn't just like a super. He's got. There's been some element of sorcery involved with him through the years in the comics, and so I could see him having some kind of role in Doctor Strange. And I would love that if that was kind of maybe how we, he gets his powers in that sort of movie. So again, but I don't think, I mean, we've still got the director working on Spider-Man right now. So I think it's in very, very early stages. And I know they said Fox did have a script for a standalone Doom movie at one point, but whether that would be used at all to sort of, work off of and go their own direction, I really don't think they've gotten too far in that regard. So I'm thinking 2023 at the earliest.
Cool, awesome. Justin, go ahead. Let's hear it. What is your total recast for the Fantastic Four?
Okay, so I'll start with my cast. I went younger.
Now, Justin, just before you continue, though, you know the most failed version of the Fantastic Four, they attempted to go younger. Does this worry you at all?
No, not at all. Because I think that movie was just mishandled. That movie had a lot of potential, and it just wasn't handled well from a studio and director perspective. There was a lot of problems behind the scenes with that film.
They had a terrific cast that they just absolutely squandered,
and they had a really unique perspective. And I think that if you're going to adopt anything from what's already been done, take that. Right? Because the other first two films were very polished, stylized, almost hyper superhero in the Spider-Man, X-Men sort of genre.
There were 2000 movies.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's move it a little bit, in a different direction.
Okay, let's see it.
So I went a bit younger in terms of a cast, and that was because I was hoping that they would be in, not just movies, but they would cameo in movies and also, in other platforms as we're saying, like in WandaVision or something like that. And John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, while they're, perfect castings, I think they're just too old. You know what I mean? They would only do like a 3-movie thing, and then what happens with Reed Richards and Sue Storm and the Fantastic Four, right? Like, I think the idea of introducing these characters is to hopefully play with them a little bit more throughout the MCU. So I chose a little bit younger. I'll start with Sue Storm. She's not super young, but I think that she's in the right age bracket that I think that would be fairly interesting. I've casted her before in Hercules, I believe, as Meg, or she was an option, but this is Evan Rachel Wood. I think she would be.
Nice.
It'd be interesting to bring her into an MCU.
Yeah.
I went a little bit younger as well for Johnny Storm, Human Torch, because I think he could be a really strong conduit that could carry over through different properties in the MCU, and I think fans would love to see the Human Torch show up in some side adventures, not necessarily associated with Fantastic Four. So I chose KJ Apa. He is Archie from Riverdale. So he's
got the hair for it.
He's got like a fiery hair, which would be cool if like he didn't have it at first, and then that just kind of set in as he becomes and when he becomes Human Torch. Ben Grimm, The Thing. This was someone that I chose that was actually to be chosen, has been rumored to be for Johnny Storm. Actually Kevin picked him, and it was Zac Efron. I thought he would be a great Thing.
What?
I think he would. Okay. He could definitely. He could be a bit different and not necessarily he'd be the polar opposite of what everyone thinks that he would really bring well to Johnny Storm. Just give him a challenge and actually push him to be the bit of the the McGregor.
So you couldn't buy him as Wolverine, but you'll buy him as the big angry rock man, eh?
My story kind of has some other elements involved, but 100% Doctor Doom is in it, and that character would be played by someone that we've seen in a Marvel movie, and I don't know what's going to happen with this new multiverse concept, but Michael Fassbender, who has also been Magneto, if they bring him in, then that obviously debunks that, but I would love to see Michael Fassbender in the MCU in some capacity, and if they don't do the Magneto crossover, Doctor Doom would be perfect for him. I think it would be absolutely perfect.
Well, you go from one metal helmeted bad guy to another metal helmeted bad guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that totally works.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I just added 2 other characters, and they don't necessarily need to appear in this movie, but I think they should be strongly hinted at. And these 2, I actually think would be, they're inevitable for the MCU, and they do come out of the Fantastic Four, and that is Silver Surfer. And I would want to see someone like, they've been trying to get him for so long, and his name has shown up as one of these characters, and it would be Keanu Reeves.
I knew it. You were going to do that.
I'd love to see Keanu Reeves as Silver Surfer. I think that that's such a smart idea, and I've actually even think that if you don't introduce him in a Fantastic Four movie, maybe he shows up in Guardians 3. Like maybe that's where he could show up, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
And with that, the next character who's obviously an inevitable for the MCU yet again, a sort of galactical being, and that is Galactus. And I would love to see that voiced by another person that I've casted in the past for roles, and that is Liam Neeson.
Of course.
So, he was in my, and it's so funny because he was in my my casting for total recast of X-Men. So again, I'm just saying, like,
as long as you get him somewhere, you'll be happy.
Exactly, right? So,
dude, I think that would be pretty dope. I think that would be pretty great.
Yeah.
And sorry, who was your Reed Richards again? One more time.
I didn't even say that.
I was wondering.
No.
Yeah, I thought you might have missed it.
That was the blank spot
That's all
for
right.
me.
You're saving the best for last.
Yeah. And our Reed Richards would be played by Dev Patel.
Whoa! Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think the
You're obsessed with it. There's another guy you just love, eh?
I like him. I do like him. I think he'd be really interesting to have as and also just again adopting something from Josh Trank's failed attempt at a Fantastic Four movie, which was this sort of mixed racial sort of diversity, because there were four, maybe switching it up a little bit, right? So, and you could do that with Sue Storm. Sue Storm doesn't necessarily. I feel like Sue Storm, even though I've chosen Evan Rachel Wood, they might choose like more of a nobody, right? With maybe a little bit more of an ethnic background, just to be a bit different with that.
But
character.
then your Johnny Storm has to be a similar ethnicity as well.
But they, in that 2015 version, they had him adopted, right?
Right.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan was in it.
I like your casting of Dev. Just that my one thing about John Krasinski is that I think you need to buy Reed Richards as the smartest guy in the room, and I can see that coming from a Dev Patel more than a John Krasinski for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have that air of just like. I mean, at least he's always going to be Jim for me, right?
Yeah,
So,
And I mean, the only reason Jim was the smartest guy in the room was because, I mean, look at all the other people in the room, right? Like, it's not a lot of competition there.
So my story, though, John Watts is tied to direct this film. One thing that we know about John Watts and his approach with Spider-Man is how he infused sort of teen comedy drama style into it, and I feel like that's kind of the approach, the reason why they might want to have approached him to infuse a more fun vibe, while also ingraining some family sort of quality to it. So an 80s movie that I know that might not necessarily you think about it right away, that has this sort of concept would be something like The Breakfast Club, and in the sense that each of the scientists would be different mindsets that come together and become a family, very similar to something that is kind of the outcome of The Breakfast Club. They were all of different mindsets and put into a situation where they then bonded and became one. But I don't think, though, I'm going to go skew it a bit different from Kevin, because yes, they've been dropping some serious Easter eggs in WandaVision, hinting at potential Fantastic Four revelations. And I think that we will see some sort of hint at the Fantastic Four in Ant-Man 3 with the introduction of Kang the Conqueror. This could introduce Reed Richards and his research into the quantum realm and the negative zone. The negative zone is an alternate dimension that has a lot of creature-like aspects to it, and it exists within time. This would also be kind of tied into how Fassbender gets his powers, because of the mystical science magic sort of monster that he creates out of that, and in his own sort of Von Doom world. But yeah, I think that would be a really interesting way. Now, my story, the story would be set in the 5-year gap of the blip. A group of 4 scientists, all with different mindsets, venture to explore new worlds through a temporal anomaly. However, this adventure has its consequences, leaving the group with fantastical powers and a threat that they never saw coming. As the time passes, their egos will fade and they will become a family. That is Fantastic Four.
All right. I love the family part. I mean, again, you're pulling right from Fast.
Where we are right now, the Fantastic Four exist and have their powers at this stage of the MCU, where we are right now. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
I love it.
Again, to Kevin's point of how they have been planting Easter eggs, and they could continue to do so, and we could be introduced to these characters in small ways, and then see sort of like how they came to be, sort of event movie, if you will.
That's kind of cool. You kind of pepper them out throughout the other movies, right? And then you Avengers it, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So you could do something like that.
No, that's great. Very cool. Awesome.
Okay, Nate, let's hear it. Let's hear your total
Everybody,
recast.
I'm going to need you guys, if you're driving, you're going to need to pull over. It's unsafe to drive while listening to this amazing amazing pitch for a Fantastic Four movie that I have. Of course, if you haven't been doing so already, get the IMDb out, okay? Get looking up some of these people, even though I'm pretty sure you should know most of the people that I've cast on my cast here. It's not like pals back when Justin recast Friends. We'll never let it go. Okay. So, getting back to my Fantastic Four recast, of course, I always love to give my pitch for the story after I've given the cast. That way you can really close your eyes and imagine these actors portraying these roles. So let's start it off with my RR, my Reed Richards, my Mr. Fantastic. This was tough. This was actually really tough for me because I wanted to get somebody that I thought, could have charm, could have wit. But then I started thinking more and more about Mr. Fantastic. And Kevin, to your point about him being the smartest man in the room, I think he would be a little bit more of a straight man. He would be a little bit more of a, he doesn't really joke around. And not only that, but, we've got Thor, we've got Ant-Man. We've got enough sort of goofy MCU characters that I think he doesn't need to necessarily go that way. So I chose Joel Kinnaman. I think Joel Kinnaman has the ability he's got the physique. He's kind of tall. He's kind of lanky. And I don't know. I think give him a chance, give him a chance. I think he's had some rough goes, I think, with Altered Carbon and him only getting the first season of that before they went to another Avenger, Anthony Mackie. I think I actually really enjoyed him in that show. And I don't think he's gotten his glow up, his Hollywood glow up. So this would be that for him.
I hated him as Rick Flag.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, that's a tough sell on me for your main character based on that.
Yeah, what I would recommend, Kevin, even if you don't watch the whole series, even just look up a scene of him in Altered Carbon, and you might sort of get a sense of what I'm going for.
Nice,
because he's definitely a different character than Rick Flag in that movie or in that show. Next up, Johnny Storm. This was tough for me. I kept going back and forth between two actors. Originally, I considered Taron Egerton or Egerton, or however you want to pronounce his name, as my Johnny Storm. But I thought, you know what? No, let's not do that. Let's reach into the Star Wars universe, the Star Wars pool, and let's pull in my main man, John Boyega, to come in and rock that red jacket. Like, he's rocking a red jacket, and he's super cocky, and he's just a jerk. I think that would be so much fun. And I think imagine his character from Pacific Rim 2, kind of like that cocky, sort of jerky kind of guy, but then he has to mature throughout the film.
Even like his character in Attack the Block would bring the right kind of energy for sure.
That would be so cool. For my Sue Storm, for his older sister, slightly older sister, because I actually think she kind of looks younger, but we'll figure it out. I went with Emmy Raver Lampman, who you might know from the Umbrella Academy. I think she's she's absolutely gorgeous, and I think in every Sue Storm iteration we've seen, she's always very pretty. So I kind of went off of that, but I also thought that, to your point, Kevin, it was you that went with Anya Taylor-Joy, right?
Yes.
Where you said like she would bring something new to the role or some sort of something different. I definitely think Emmy Raver Lampman would be able to kind of bring that to the Sue Storm role, and I think it would just be a great pairing as a sister to John Boyega, and I think she would also work really well on screen with Joel Kinnaman. For Ben Grimm, is it just Thing or The Thing? I don't know. I had so many people. Just on my like short list, I had Terry Crews was a thought for me for a second that I thought would be fun, but then I was like, nah, you know what? Like, I've never seen him play anything seriously, and I'm not saying he can't do it. I just haven't seen it, and I want my Thing to have some more serious moments. I considered, before I went the serious route, I considered Nick Offerman. I considered Danny McBride, and then when I started to get a little more serious, I started thinking Ron Perlman, Jesse Plemons, but where I settled was kind of like a cross between Jesse Plemons and Ron Perlman. I went with Michael Cudlitz, which, if you don't know Michael Cudlitz, he played Abraham in The Walking Dead. And I mean, if you just look at the guy, he looks like, he doesn't look like the Thing, but he looks so much like he'll fit that role. And from my experience of watching him on The Walking Dead, I just loved the way that he was super tough, but he was a big softie. He was a big teddy bear on that show, and I think that's kind of the route that I want to take his character. And then for my Doctor Doom, I looked at a ton of people before I settled on this guy. I was looking at Viggo Mortensen was on my short list. I had Javier Bardem on my short list for Doctor Doom. I was looking at also maybe a Denzel Washington on there as well, which I thought would be crazy. But who I ended up going with for Doctor Doom is somebody a little out of left field. He can play a little bit, quirky and funny, but he also, when he wants to be a bad guy, I think he's excellent in it. And that's Jon Hamm.
Oh, man. I was going to pick him.
Right? I literally was Google image searching Jon Hamm, and I'm like, please show me an image where he looks evil. And I think it's, isn't he, he's in Baby Driver, isn't he? And he's got his hair slicked back, and and he's got guy liner like Kevin likes to wear sometimes. And I was watching it, I was looking at this image, and I was just like, yes, that is, that's Doctor Doom. I would be so stoked to see his transition into that character.
Yeah, because he could bring that rogue charm that
Right?
he needs to be a charming guy as well as an evil guy, and he can do both at the same time, So.
Right? He could be scary, dude. Oh, man. So guys, let me get into the storyline here, okay? Are you ready? This is the new Fantastic Four MCU. This is directed by John Watts, produced by Kevin Feige, and written by Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, okay? So get ready for this craziness. Strap in. Our Fantastic Four, as well as Victor Von Doom, who in this movie is Reed Richards' best friend and best man, as Reed Richards is engaged to Sue Storm. They're going to get married. They're out on a top secret mission given to them by S.W.O.R.D. At this moment, they all already have their powers, but Doctor Doom isn't Doctor Doom. He's just Victor Von Doom. When all of a sudden they disappear in the snap. They come back, but it's not at the same time as everyone else on Earth, due to the fact that they were also sucked through a black hole at the very moment the snap happened, causing them to seemingly return much later than everyone else on Earth. So basically what I'm saying is they don't blip back at the same time as everyone. Kind of strange. Now, when as far as when we're introduced to Victor Von Doom, I'm thinking we get a Captain Marvel 2 end credit sequence where she discovers she sees a distress call coming from a destroyed S.W.O.R.D. facility called the Rosebud 2. Okay, and she goes to investigate, and then our movie sort of picks up right there. So after further investigation, she discovers 5 passengers: Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, Benjamin Grimm, all asleep in a cryo state, and a malnourished and dazed Victor Von Doom barely surviving. She helps them return back to Earth, where they recover in a S.W.O.R.D. rehabilitation clinic, and they have to go through a quarantine process and are kept from each other and the rest of the world for 30 days until they're released. Upon their release, they all reunite except for Victor, who is nowhere to be seen. Throughout the film, both Victor's path and our Fantastic Four team, we see them start to realize some strange things going on around in the world around them. For instance, a barbecue restaurant that Johnny used to go to all the time is open and under new management, even though he remembers they were shut down years ago.
It's getting confusing.
Dude, get ready for that. It's going to get even more confusing. Sue notices that she thinks she sees someone that looks like ex-Stark Industries CEO Obadiah Stane on a news broadcast. And then Victor, we cut to another, Victor on the run here. We see Victor notices the World Trade Center looks fine in New York, and then receives a call from his mother, who informs him that his wife and kids are so happy he's alive and can't wait to see him. The only issue is his wife and kids died in the attack on New York. This is where we get the twist of the film, and this is where they realize they're not on their Earth. They're not on Earth 199,999. Getting blipped while traveling through a wormhole caused them to travel through the multiverse, and they end up in the wrong dimension. They start working on a plan to get back to their dimension when they're visited by the Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton, who informs them that the Earth is going to be destroyed by something in 1 week. That's something we later learned to find out is Galactus, who I was originally going to have Liam Neeson voice. Thanks, Justin. But instead, I'm going with my backup, Bryan Cranston, going to be voicing Galactus. He's already played a giant big head character before, so I thought that would work. So they have 1 week to figure it out. They have to kind of figure out how can they get back, and Tilda Swinton, the Ancient One, tells them the only way they can get back is if they recreate the circumstances for in which how they arrived. This means that they have 1 week to find Victor and escape. They find Victor living with his family and discuss the plan to leave with him when he refuses and violently forces them to leave his residence. He's not on board with their plan, and he doesn't care if the world that he's in burns as long as he gets to live out 1 more week with his wife and kids. The team struggles with not only getting Victor on board, but also they struggle with the idea of leaving this entire Earth to be destroyed, except for Johnny Storm, who's very much like, no, let's get out of here. These people don't matter. They're not real. We can't change anything anyways. So they're going to have to find a way to stop Galactus while at the same time convince Victor to leave his family behind. And because of that, they end up, some actions end up happening in the film that cause Victor to lose his family yet again, causing him to resent them and become Doctor Doom. Our end credit stinger of the movie, we see Victor speaking with a terrifying villain who promises he has a way to bring his family back. He just has to devote his soul to him. And that is Mephisto, played by Liam Neeson. This is the Fantastic Four, and it comes out in 2024. Guys, what do you think?
So I honestly think that at some point in time, we'll need to sit down with you and talk to you about what a pitch is.
No.
Because what you just demonstrated was so convoluted that if you were in a pitch, they would have just been nodding and going, right, well, thank you for coming in. Make sure you get your candies on the way out. Thank you.
I mean, come on. You got to admit some of those ideas were interesting, though, right?
If I could follow a little bit more of the trajectory of what it was, there was just a lot happening.
Yes.
Now, are we going to get explanations of like multiverses and stuff through other movies before your very confusing one?
100%. Keep in mind, this is the idea, right? Like, by the time you get to this movie in 2023, 2024, I'm going with 2024 just for the marketing aspect of having the 4 in the title. But I gotta say, like, by the time we get there, I think this is very plausible and understandable. I think multiverses and seeing the Ancient One, like, we've already gotten to see a little bit of that, and her like expanding the timeline with her talking with Hulk in Endgame. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's definitely we don't have to hold the hand of our viewers that much with this film. And I just think it makes a lot of sense. I don't know. I think it would be so much fun to have that sort of dichotomy of having Victor be a good character throughout pretty much the entirety of the film, and have that sort of really sadness where, no, he's not a mama's boy like he was in the comics. He's actually he's just an amazing man who cares and has a devoted family that was ripped away from him in the attack on New York.
I'll give you points for giving your villain more humility than just him being a villain, right? Like there's a sense of loss there, so I'll give you points for that. So
sweet.
But if this was a competition, you would lose by far, because that was not a pitch. I just like,
you sound like Jerry Seinfeld, right? That was not a pitch.
That was so busy. I enjoyed your cast, though. I thought your cast was well selected, very diverse.
Cool.
Each person would bring something unique to the role, so I enjoyed who you selected. But yeah, that story, like, I'm gonna have to re-listen to this episode just to see if I understand. I don't know.
I think you're gonna love it. Yeah.
Well, either way, one of the most enjoyable things is seeing how differently we sort of approach the casts for these total recasts. So we certainly hit that.
Guys, we have a bonus cast, believe it or not. We actually had a listener of the show write in, and I just sort of mentioned to them we were recasting the Fantastic Four, and they wrote in with their cast. You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
This is a total recast from Matthew Rona. from Toronto. Thank you so much for writing in, Matt. We've got okay. So he sets it up. He says, "Mr. Fantastic, John Hamm." So he's going the opposite way. He's going with that sort of charming debonair, and I struggled with that idea. I thought maybe that would actually work as well.
That would work as well. That would work
Right?
really well. Yeah.
Oh, man. And then for his Invisible Woman, he went with Naomi Watts, bringing her into the fold in the MCU. And I think a big part of that might have to do with some of the age. They're very similar in age with John Hamm and Naomi Watts. I think that would work really well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to save my favorite one that he did for the last, but actually, this one's really good too. For The Thing, he went with Mark Wahlberg.
That's great. That's
Right?
good.
Could I possibly be a rock?
My body is changing. And then, so with his Doctor Doom, he went with Vincent Cassel. Or Vincent Castle, I don't know how you pronounce.
Oh, the
that guy's
French
name.
actor from he was in the French film Hate, and then he was also in obviously Ocean's 12. He was the villain in Ocean's 12.
Yeah, he was the fox.
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really cool. He's in Westworld.
Yes, he's in Westworld too. That's how you would know.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, okay, for his Human Torch, and this is my favorite one, and I know, Kevin, you're not a big fan of musicals, but and don't worry, he didn't choose Lin-Manuel Miranda for Human Torch.
Well, then I'll still listen.
He chose Jonathan Groff, which I think is absolutely excellent as a Johnny Storm. You guys know Jonathan Groff, right?
No. Even looking at his IMDb, I'm not too familiar with him.
Oh my gosh. I mean, he's in Hamilton. He's known for Glee. He's just so charming and so like kind and sweet in those shows, but he can also kind of be a bit of a dick. So I think that would be, I don't know. I think it would be really good. Great.
Definitely out of left field.
Yes.
He's not from Frozen, is he?
He
No,
is,
he's not.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he's
is.
Yeah.
Kristoff.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he's
Kristoff.
Kristoff.
He's
Yeah.
Kristoff, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that would be really, really fun. Thank you so much, Matt, for writing in with your total recast.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And I mean, we already mentioned our email if any of our other listeners want to write in with their version of a total recast. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any theories or any ideas on how we can see the Fantastic Four show up in the MCU, I'm going to mention it one more time. Justin, I left a note on the other side of the studio, but I can't quite reach it. I was wondering if you could use your powers to reach it and tell the viewers where they can write in.
Yes, they can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Please write in and tell Nate how to pitch a movie. Please.
I was going to give you a compliment on the fact that you said they can reach us, but now I'm not even going to give it to you, okay? Guys, we hope you enjoyed this week's fantastic 4th episode. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts, because we are Geekcentric and you can be too, which means you can catch us on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. You can follow us on Twitter at geekcentricyt. Justin's popping out some banger tweets over there, so you got to check that out. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram at wearegeekcentric. Also, if you don't know, I am streaming on Twitch most days. My schedule's a little bit up in the air right now, so I'm not hitting my Tuesday, Thursday cadence, but follow me on nate.playsgames on Instagram if you want to keep up with my schedule. Every Sunday night, though, I am going to be streaming some Super Mario 35, some Super Mario 64, and I will tell you, boys, those games are, like, Super Mario 64 is incredibly difficult. Like, I don't know how kids, I don't know how Nintendo was like, kids are going to be great at this. They're going to love it. First of all, it's the first 3D game of its kind like that, and not only is it like that, the camera is awful and it's so slippery and slidey. So ultimately what I'm saying is, if you want to see a grown man freak out and almost throw his controller on a stream, it's a great Sunday night. You can get a drink and enjoy along with me. So come say hi. Let's keep the conversation going over there on Twitch. Justin, Kevin, thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode, and as we say, love ya.
Stay home safe.
Peace.